Today we're going to be talking about variables. Now variables are essential to programming because they store values. They make your life a lot easier. Now in order to use a variable correctly, you're going to have to do three things. Declare the variable, assign the variable, and use the variable. Now what do you mean by that? Well, I'm going to show you. Well, you first have to declare the variable. How you do that is you first announce the type of the variable and then the name of the variable. Well, what are the different types of variables? Well, I'm glad you asked. Or didn't ask. Alright, anyway, there are many variables that you can use. The most common are integers and strings. Now, integers store integers. So let's say that our variable name is going to be called trial. What we'd write is int is short for integer, if you can tell. Then trial. And then finish it off with semicolon. Now we know that our variable trial is storing an integer value. Now if you wanted to store decimal numbers, you would use the variable float, short for floating point decimal. If you wanted to store a number like 3.14, you would write float trial and then semicolon. If you wanted to store words or phrases, that's where string comes in. You would write string trial and then just like that. The last very well-known variable type is bool, which is used if you want your variable to store a true or false statement. But we'll talk about that later along with Boolean algebra and stuff like that. For variable names, you're gonna have to follow these rules. Yes, more rules. You're gonna have to not put any symbols like exclamation points, periods, stuff like that. The variable name cannot start with a number. It cannot have the same name as an existing reserved word, which we'll discuss that also in a different episode. And it also cannot have any spaces. Remember, no spaces. Now we're going to assign our variable. To do this, what we do is we write our variable trial, 1 equals mark, and let's say 100, because trial is an integer type variable. And then we end it off with a semicolon. Now, this is basically just assigning the variable. It's that easy. In fact, if you want to, you can declare and assign the variable in the same line. How you do that is you basically put the variable type in front of the variable. So you're declaring that trial, our variable, is an integer that is equal to 100. A couple more rules you need to know. You can perform mathematical equations on the values before storing them. Also, suppose I say trial is equal to, let's say, 50 on the next line. Basically, trial is going to store the new value and override the old value. So now trial is going to equal to 50. And that's basically it about the assign stage. Now we go on to the use stage. Now, how to use a variable. Well, suppose we wanted to say motor C is equal to a certain value and motor B is equal to the same value. We could write trial in place of those, and now since trial is the value at which motor C and motor B is moving, we can control both of those values right here. So suppose right now trial is at 100. So now both of these is equal to 100. So now motor C and motor B is equal to 100% power. But suppose I wanted to put them to negative 75 power, something like that. Well, now I just put it in here, And now these two are equal to negative 75 power. And that is basically how you use variables. You declare them, assign them, and then use them to whatever needs you need. Now there are many types of variables, and we'll be exposing them to you throughout the next few videos. Until then, practice some programming with your robot. Tell us how it went, and if you have any other questions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching us, guys, and like our video and subscribe to our channel, and EMC squared out.
But if you close your eyes, does it